Previously on Fried Plantain.
I don't know that the comedians have had that much power.
Are
and
you
that
fucking
much...
out of your mind?
No, I'm being serious.
Joe Rogan. I'm not gonna.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
You know, you can't separate. Like, if the movement is like, you know, we're being censored. No, you're not. You're not.
When you are ready, I will surrender. Take me and do as you will. Have what you want your way's always the best way. I have succumbed to this passive sensation, peacefully falling away. I am the zombie your wish will command me. Laugh as I fall to my knees. Bring it back, sing it back, bring it back, sing it back to me. Bring it back, sing it back, bring it back, sing it back to me.
There's no story older than friendship turns sour. It begins with a smile, a shared purpose, a dream born in the same soul and ends in blood. From the dawn of man, when Cain rose against Abel, this spirit has haunted us, the shadow of envy cast upon the light of kinship. God favored one's offering, and the other could not bear the sting. A brother's joy became a mirror of inadequacy. In that reflection, rage was born, and in that rage, the world learned what jealousy could do.
You want to be me?
It was never about grains or flocks, it was about favor. The eternal curse of watching another man's star rise while your own flickers dimly. The same fire that consumed Cain still burns today. It whispers through the ages, wearing new faces, new names. Samson and Delilah, Marvin Gaye and the father who bore him, Kanye and Virgil, Bernie Mac and Steve Harvey, Louis C.K. and Jimmy Fallon, and on and on and on. It never ends. Each story the same echo, each betrayal the same roots.
You guys knew why! Because you're the son of a clerk, and I'm not supposed to want to be you.
What is this? This plague, this spirit, this cycle? It is jealousy, pure, primal, and eternal. It is the serpent that slithers through every era, turning admiration into hatred and companionship into competition. We are trapped in a cosmic loop of deja vu.
Well, it's also, he's pathologically jealous. Like, he's like literally mentally ill. Like, do you understand? Mark, when he first started, when he was just first coming up, was friends with Mitch Hedberg, and then Mitch Hedberg hit, and he couldn't be friends with him anymore.
Really?
Yep. Stopped being his friend. Same thing with Louis C.K. Louis C.K. and him were tight. Louis blew up, Mark didn't. He had to fucking hate him, and he turned on him. Talked shit about him openly. And then he became successful. And the years where Mark was successful were the best years of Mark. Because Mark was fun. Mm-hmm. Like, I've had ups and downs with Mark. I've gone through this with him like 3 or 4 different times.
When Joe Rogan finally addressed years of criticism from Marc Maron, it wasn't just another spat between comedians. It was a reflection of how rivalry, social media, and cultural politics intersect in modern entertainment. In a recent episode of the Joe Rogan Experience featuring Brian Callen, Rogan broke his silence, painting Maron as emblematic of a deeper problem within comedy. The professional critic who substitutes envy for introspection and moral posture for creative work.
Like, when you're young and you're coming up and you see people that are doing better than you, like, fuck that guy. It's normal, but it's not beneficial. It's not good for you.
Well, you can use it to inspire you.
Yeah.
That's what I do.
I've done what they do. I've hated on people. I definitely did when I was younger. It's just not smart. It's not a good strategy for life.
Doesn't help you.
It's, you know, your identity gets too wrapped up in conflict, and it's just like super unhealthy.
Well, we know people our age who are still doing that shit.
Of course.
Comics.
Marc Maron, don't say it.
I mean, I don't get it. You know, I'm like, I don't know.
I get it. He's sad. He's sad. He wants other people to hurt. That's what it is.
It's just not charitable.
Like, I've had ups and downs with Mark. I've gone through this with him like 3 or 4 different times, where he gets upset at me, and then we talk, and then, are we good? We're good. Like, he likes to do that. He likes to talk shit about you, and then you confront him, and he says, you're right. And with me, my relationship with him was really complicated because when I was an open micer, I was 21 years old and I was just starting out. Mark gave me a compliment once that really helped me. He came up to me and he goes, "Hey man, you're really funny. You just keep doing what you're doing. Don't listen to anybody else. Just keep doing what you're doing." I was like, "Wow, thank you."
That's his best side. That's the good side.
It is not all bad.
No.
And he was a young guy back then, right? So he was just being cool. And then over time, obviously I became more famous than him and more successful than him. And he does not like that. He fucking hates that. And the only time we were cool was when Mark was number 1. So Mark, the podcast took off, and you got to realize it took off when he was deep into his 40s, right? And it was the number 1 podcast in the country. And he was on Rolling Stone magazine, and, you know, he had his own show on IFC, The Maron Show, and he was fucking great. He was cool to hang with. He was fun because he didn't have to compare himself to anybody anymore because he was a success. Like, he could look at his own success. He was doing a television show. He had his podcast. Everything was great. And we were cool. Like, we were friends.
When Rogan's podcast eclipsed Maron's and secured an exclusive Spotify deal, the tension became open hostility. To Rogan, this was not ideological. It was psychological. He sees Maron as someone who turns on any peer who surpasses him, citing past rips with Louis C.K., Bill Burr, and Mitch Hedberg. In Rogan's telling, Maron's political critiques, whether about vaccines, gender issues, or Trump voters, are secondary to an older, more primal emotion, envy disguised as virtue.
Like, I'd see him, I'd give him a hug, I'd say, "What's going on?" We would talk. We're friendly at the store. We never hung out off site. But we were friendly. Like, we had pushed all the beef aside, and he even did my podcast. We had a great time. And then I started getting more successful. And then my podcast passed his. Then my podcast became number 1. And then the Spotify deal. And that's when he started talking shit about me. So he started talking shit about me long before all this Trump stuff. This Trump stuff is just the most recent iteration of this bizarre thing that he does with people. And the first thing was he had decided that I was an asshole, like, just because the podcast took off. But it was not a big deal. It was like I'd heard people say that he was saying things. But then after the Spotify deal was a real problem. And that's when he started coming after me. And it was about vaccines. Like, so he was talking about me on stage about vaccines. It's like, by the way, everything I said was correct. The people that I had on my podcast were like Robert Malone, who got criticized. He has 9 patents in the creation of mRNA technology.
He's a vaccinologist. He's an immunologist.
He took the vaccine himself and had a horrible adverse event, which is when he started becoming critical of it.
Right.
And then he started doing the science and looking into the papers and the research, and he was trying to sound the alarm. He was right. All these people, Dr. Pierre Corey, he was right. Peter McCullough is the most published doctor in human history in his particular field of expertise, which is immunology. It's kidney disease. I don't exactly.
But he's a scientist,
very well published and accredited scientist. So these are the people that I had on that were talking about this stuff. It had nothing to do with that Maron was upset at. It had to do with jealousy.
Creative jealousy is as old as art itself, and Rogan's version of events reads as both personal grievance and universal warning. When envy replaces ambition, he implies, bitterness becomes the art form. The political dimension of Rogan's defense is equally revealing. He argues that Maron weaponizes progressive politics to position himself as morally superior while masking personal resentment. Rogan cites 2 examples. First, he rejects Maron's alleged claim that opposing puberty blockers for minors equates to denying healthcare to trans people, framing it as a deliberate distortion. Second, he challenges Maron's statement that Trump voters simply wanted to use offensive slurs, arguing instead that their motivations were rooted in immigration and border issues.
The root of it all is not real. It's not that he cares so much that he wants everyone to do the right thing. That's not it. He's upset that all these people are getting attention. He's upset that it's very childish. But he'll make it look like, he's the righteous side, the left, the progressives. He's the voice now, and he's gonna fucking, we got work to do. We got to get these fascists out. No, it's about him getting more attention. That's what it ultimately is all about, and that's unfortunate. And I'm not mad at him. And if I saw him and I talked to him, we were cool, I'd give him a hug.
You're just
but
being
he
honest.
Wants to
You're
pretend,
being just honest.
right? But he wants to pretend that everybody else is bad and mean, and this is like the reason why they're successful, or that they're hacks.
Or that the culture's corrupt.
Well, he always says some dumb shit like, you can stop making fun of trans people. They can't get health care. That's one of the things he said. Like, what are you talking about? They can't get health care. Health care is care that makes you healthy. The law that got passed was stopping chemical castration drugs and surgery for underage children that are confused.
Yeah. And you know how many kids are... Yeah, don't
By
get
the way, these things that they call hormone
cross-sex
blockers.
Hormones? Are you kidding? Puberty blockers?
But hold on. Hormone blockers, that's not what they originally were used for. We know that medicine can be used off-label, right? And the idea of that initially was there was only 100 different kinds of medicine, and you could figure out what would work, and you could prescribe it for different things and off-label uses. The stuff that they're using, what they're calling puberty blockers, is the same drugs that they used to give to sex offenders for chemical castration. It's the same drugs.
It's fucking unbelievable.
It's chemical castration drugs, and you're giving it to children.
Yeah.
Whether one agrees with Rogan's political interpretations, his larger point about how social causes can become vehicles for personal brand building carries weight. In the age of podcast politics, where morality and marketing often blur, sincerity is hard to measure. The risk is that every stance, no matter how noble, can be read as performative. Rogan's frustration lies in the sense that good faith has been replaced by spectacle, that debate has become a game of optics rather than truth. Andrew Schultz, one of Rogan's allies, reinforced this theme in a separate discussion that widened the lens to the comedy industry at large. Schultz launched into a fiery defense of Rogan, accusing many comedians of hypocrisy and cowardice. In his view, too many have benefited from Rogan's influence, his platform, his audience, his mentorship, only to turn on him when online sentiment shifted.
Marc Maron, you ain't shit. That's about it.
Jesus.
Yeah, I'm tired of this motherfucker.
Ain't shit. Not just him. A lot of these comedians ain't shit. I've been seeing a lot of comedians trying to separate themselves from Austin lately. Have you seen this?
Yeah, of course.
I've seen a lot of these comedians really trying to create distance from Austin, what's happening in Austin. A lot of comedians that use Joe and his millions of followers to boost their careers, that went on there to promote their specials, that performed at the club, really used Joe's power and influence that he was very generous to give them. And all of a sudden there's a little internet backlash post-election, and they're trying to blame the manosphere for the election, not the fact that they ran a fucking dead guy and a woman that can't talk. No, it's true. And it's and now I see these comics kind of vocally talking shit, that they would talk all this shit, by the way, behind closed doors, because it's what comics do, but real rat weasel shit. Because you let this guy enrich you, you used him for his followers, and now you see a situation where they're getting backlash, and instead you pile on for self-salvation.
Yeah.
Not get your boys back and refute some of the rumors that exist on the internet.
Yeah.
There's a lot of fucking weasels in this business, and it's good. I like to see it. I want everybody to know, because they're going to get canceled for some shit in the future. They're going to not live up to the purity test, and Joe is the type of guy that he would have had your back.
They're loyal only to their salvation, Schultz says, describing a generation of comics who align themselves with whatever direction the wind of public approval blows. When Rogan's podcast was the surest route to fame, they were silent. Now that distancing from him appears fashionable, they posture as critics. Schultz's tirade against Marc Maron epitomized this sentiment.
Also, comedy scenes are comedy scenes. Like Brooklyn was the most annoying comedy scene.
Yeah.
Probably still is. I don't need to perform there anymore, luckily. But like, it was the fucking worst comedy scene.
He's right here, guys.
There's nice people, okay? They like
No, they're
jokes.
not. They're not
They like
nice
jokes.
people. No, they're not. No, they're not nice people.
Yeah, but it's this thing that's like they're going like all the comics and whatever. It's like, listen, the majority of comics at a comedy club suck. Okay? They do. I go to the cellar, I roll my eyes at half of these motherfuckers before I gotta go on and mop up the bombs that they fucking do. Okay? Okay, this idea that they're all good, but what we're not gonna do is pretend like there aren't fantastic comics there as well. Yeah. Okay? Shane is fantastic.
Yeah.
Derek Poston is fantastic.
Yep.
Brian Simpson is fantastic. Okay? Maybe they don't have the density that we have in New York right now. Okay? But at the same time, like, to dispel the entire scene, because now Joe can no longer do something for you, or Tony can no longer do something for you, because that's what it really comes down. When going on Joe Rogan made you a millionaire for 6 years in a row, all these comics were fucking quiet. They were complimentary. They were being so sweet because they wanted to get in. Now that going on Joe Rogan once doesn't automatically give you a career. And now that Kill Tony is focused on more like character-based people, now they no longer see their salvation in these two people. So now they're having these honest conversations. Oh, they're saying the R word a lot. Shut up, retard. I'm seeing these comics. It's just so two-faced snake weasels, little rats.
Yeah.
And this is kind of who they are, though, to be honest. Like, these are the conversations they have in private, and then they kind of change face. So maybe it's even better that they're finally have the balls to be authentic.
I mean,
now.
look, let's be honest. If you're a stand-up, you have a void. There's something going on in here.
Yeah.
Some of us, I hope I'm one of them, tries to work on it and still be a better person while chasing this thing. And some of them, it's just an endless void, and they're just going to keep chasing and keep betraying and keep being whatever.
Schultz argued that younger comics, unaccustomed to large-scale scrutiny, panic in the face of online anger rather than ride out the storm. The social media cycle punishes nuance and rewards self-correction performed for applause. Rogan's defenders view him as one of the few still willing to resist that pattern, at least publicly. Yet even as Rogan and his allies call for authenticity, they too participate in the same attention economy they criticize. Their podcasts are built on the currency of discourse. Their rebuttals amplify controversy rather than end it. Every time Rogan responds to a critic, he feeds the machine he condemns. This paradox is inescapable in modern media. The refusal to engage is often seen as guilt, while engagement fuels the very spectacle one despises.
Yeah, I just think it's so corny. You use someone to enrich yourself, and the second they're going through something, you immediately abandon them, and then you could say nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah. But you have to act. Now you have to say something. You have to have a word. It's like, yeah, okay. Well, now we know who you are. Even though we always knew, now everybody knows who you are. And your fans probably...
No,
like,
some of them I'm surprised by.
Really?
Some of them I'm like, I thought you were a stand-up dude, man. I thought you were a stand-up fucking guy. And you were not.
Yeah, that is the epitome of a...
What's changed? Because I feel like
They don't see their salvation in him. Comics are loyal to their salvation.
Sorry, what are you saying?
I feel like when Rogan was in LA, it was everybody got along. It was really kumbaya in the comedy scene. Like no one really attacked other comics, even if they disagreed with them. What has changed?
This is my opinion. Everything trickles down, right? So it's like when the only way to make it was being on Comedy Central, all these comics that we see now were doing knock-knock jokes, hoping to get a special on Comedy Central, right? So you basically gravitate towards what your salvation is. Most people do. Most comics do. Joe Rogan was the way to make it for a 6 or 7 year stretch. It was like you went on Rogan. I saw it happen to me. Like going on Rogan, life changed immediately, right? And when that was the case, all these comics were real fucking quiet. Nobody said a peep. No one said, and if they disagreed with something, they were just silent. Now going on Rogan once isn't going to immediately change your career.
Yeah, I remember you said you went from comedy clubs to theaters. I went a few years later. I went from comedy clubs to more people in a comedy club.
Well, that's more. But like, and then what happened is I think a lot of comics saw like Kill Tony being the way to make it, right? So nobody was going to talk shit about Rogan, and nobody's going to talk shit about Tony. And now you see Kill Tony, and the people that really explode from there are like more character based, right? So then comics go, okay, well, I can't make it immediately off of Rogan. I can't make it immediately off Tony. I guess I'll sandbag these motherfuckers while, the internet is coming after them.
The feud between Rogan and Maron thus transcends personal history. It represents the fragmentation of comedy into tribes, each with its own moral compass, audience, and digital echo chamber. One side privileges authenticity and freedom of speech, wary of ideological policing. The other sees social awareness and accountability as essential to modern comedy. Both claim moral high ground, both see the other as hypocritical, and both rely on public platforms that profit from their clash. Rogan's response to Maron ultimately serves as a manifesto of sorts, a declaration of his worldview. He believes that creativity demands risk, that jealousy poisons art, and that authenticity outweighs approval. His critics see him as defensive, unwilling to accept legitimate scrutiny. Both readings can coexist. The modern comedian is both artist and brand, both vulnerable human and public figure, expected to embody transparency, yet punished for every misstep. Rogan's answer to Maron is, in the end, a reflection of that impossible balance, a defense not just of himself, but of a way of being in an era where every joke, belief, and feud is content. Whether one views him as a champion of free expression or as a figure too powerful to escape critique, Rogan's exchange with Maron captures the new reality of public discourse. Success breeds resentment, criticism breeds visibility, and the line between honesty and performance grows ever thinner.